Testing. Hi there, guys. My name is rohanbeve, and today we are going to be talking about why multitasking doesn't work. Today, we're going to be talking about why multitasking doesn't work. So, have you ever, sometimes in life, the thing is, life sometimes can be hectic, and the only way to solve this hectic, chaotic problem, you have to do multiple tasks, is multitasking, right? But, and gurus and other people capitalize off of it, giving advice for multitasking and stuff like that. But can we actually use multitasking? Okay? The term multitasking came in the 1960s or in the 60s for computers, okay? Performances for the computers, right? Now, the thing is, our brain is not a computer. You see, the thing is, our attention, to scientists, mostly looks like a spotlight. We can only focus at one thing for a time, okay? Now, because the thing is, our attention is a limited resource, right? So we can only use our attention on one thing at a time, like a spotlight. But in reality, scientists more think of our attention more of a lens, a zoom lens. Because maybe we can look at a bunch of things, right? Our spotlight's looking at one thing. Maybe we can zoom it in to see closer details and farther away to see more objects and stuff like that. But those two at the same time is not possible. Okay. You see, the thing is, our brain cannot handle a bunch of information and stuff like that. So let me show you an example, okay? Like the famous invisible gorilla test, okay? Since, our brain can't handle that much of information and stuff like that. Well, it can handle some, but it can't handle the full load, right? So now let's look at the famous invisible gorilla test. Experiment, not test. Basically, there were a bunch of basketball players dressed in black and white, and you are tasked to count how many passes were passed by the players in white. And after that, you would say the correct answer. But then they would ask the question, did you see the gorilla walking around, beating its chest, right? Most people would say no, they did not see, and they would have to go back and see that it is actually there. That just shows the power of focusing on something, okay? Since that's basically how our brain works. We focus on something, right? But we also can't see much other details. So we could be looking at something right now and we could be missing out on all other details and stuff like that. Okay? Now, I forgot what it is called something, I just forgot what it was, okay? But so that's basically the main gist of it because we can't process everything at once, okay? We can maybe process a thing or two. We can look at something, process it, and then we can change to something and we can change back. But doing it at the same time with a bunch of stuff, we overload our brains with a bunch of information. We eventually miss some information and stuff, and if we do the task, we won't do it that well when we did it one by one, okay? Now the thing is, okay, now the thing is, okay, sometimes we can do two things at a time technically if it comes from different responses or different regions of the brain that do, stuff like that. For example, listening to music while reading a book, right? That is an example of this. So if it comes from different what you say, interfaces from the brain, like one coming from the ear, from optics, stuff like that. So that's technically multitasking. But is it safe? Well, no. Let's say, for example, another type of this is you talking with someone on the phone while you're driving. Now the thing is, when you're talking on your phone, scientists found out that most people use mental images, and these use the same amount of resources as your optics, your eyes. So while driving, if this resource is stretched out too much, we can't see the actual fine details, and there's a possible chance we could actually crash the car because we're just talking with someone, right? You create these mental images, and these mental images can distract you from what's actually happening. We can't see it, and then bam. So why multitasking doesn't work? At best, it's efficient at best, but worst, it's very dangerous. Okay, so that's why best you don't do multitasking. Just do everything one by one, okay, and everything should work out. That's basically why multitasking doesn't work, and that's basically it. Thank you for watching this video, and hope to see you next time. Bye bye!